If you've ever been to a watch party, a sports bar, or even sitting on a couch during a game and someone says something like, the left tackle missed the block, or the safety just blew the coverage, and you smile and nod, this episode is for you.
Football is more than just a game. It's a year-round party, and not everyone speaks the language. Here we break it down in real time, fun, simple, and judgment-free. Welcome to Football for Her, where anyone can learn the NFL from a woman's perspective. I'm Dee Dee, raised in a football family. Stick with me, and you'll speak football for her as well. Let's talk football.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Football for Her, the podcast where we talk football in a way that finally makes sense. Today, we're breaking down the football positions. So imagine that you just walked into a party and you're trying to figure out what everybody on the field actually does. The reason why you do that is so that the game actually makes sense. So after today's lesson, after today's podcast, you'll be able to kind of listen to those things and go, hey, I know he's talking about the running back. I know he's talking about the quarterback. I got you.
It's time for the word of the week.
Before we talk about positions, let's talk about our football word of the week. It's more like a term of the week, but it is depth chart. A depth chart is basically the team's lineup that shows who plays each position and who their backups are. So think of it like a cast list in a movie. You have your main characters, which are the starters, and then you have your backups ready to step in if someone gets injured or needs a break. So when you hear someone say he moved up the depth chart, that means he's getting closer to becoming a starter. So you may wonder, well, what causes a player to move up in the depth chart? Well, there are a number of reasons, but here are a few. Players can have high performance. There could be injuries to players that are ahead of them, or changes in the team's strategy caused by coaches or GMs. Coaches are constantly monitoring performances in practices and games to identify the best players to put on the field. It literally can change up any given Sunday because most teams are going to go with the best players. So our phrase this week, depth chart. Okay, so we're going to have a question and answer period today. My cousin Sharita from Tennessee told me that she was watching my podcast, but I was not addressing the question she had. Since this is Football for Her, I wanted to give Sharita a chance to ask her questions, and I'm going to answer them for her, and I hope that we can all learn some good information today. Okay, so let's welcome to the show my cousin Sharita. What do you have for me today, cousin? Hi, cousin. I've been watching your Football for Her podcast, but I have questions. Do you have time to listen to them for me? Yes, cousin, I do have time. And today I set aside this time just for you. The first question, cousin, what's a quarterback? Okay, cousin, so you waste no time, right? You get right in there. The quarterback. The quarterback is the leader of the offense. So they're the ones that throw the ball or they hand the ball off and make really quick decisions in almost every play. And if you want to know famous quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and if you're a Giants fan like me, we love Phil Simms, Eli Manning, but those are your famous quarterbacks. Okay, so whenever the quarterback's on the field, well, I don't quite know what I'm trying to ask you, but I've heard people say running back. Do you know what a running back is, cousin? Well, yes, cousin, I know exactly what a running back is. The running back is the player who normally runs the ball, and their job is to find openings and gain yards on the ground. So the quarterback may actually just hand the ball to the running back. He doesn't throw it to him. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And this one is kind of funny, cousin. I've heard people call him a tight end. I guess it can sound funny when you say tight end, but in football, this position is kind of a hybrid. A tight end may block someone from trying to get to the quarterback, one of the linemen or whatever, or they can also run routes and catch passes. And another important role in an offense would be a wide receiver. The wide receiver is the guy who catches the ball that the quarterback throws to them. And I've heard people say the D-line and the O-line is trash. What's a D-line and an O-line, cousin? Did they really say they were trash? Okay. So the offensive line, they're there to protect the quarterback and to create spaces for the running back so that they can run and do their job. And if the offensive line or O-line is doing their job right, then you won't even notice that they're there. And that's a good thing. The positions in the O-line are the center, the guards, and the tackles. And as you learn more, I'll get into them a little bit deeper. But then your D-line or your defensive line, these are the players who want to get to the ball. So you'll have your defensive end who try to tackle the quarterback and the running back. You'll have your defensive tackle, and they'll line up against the guards in the O-line, and they'll try to get to that running back and quarterback a different way. And then you'll have a nose guard. They kind of line up right there in the middle to distract multiple blockers so that the linemen can get in there, or the linebackers can get in there and do their thing. It is a lot, cousin. And I just want to make sure that you understand it all. Okay, now I've heard people go, clap, clap, defense, clap, 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 defense, clap, clap. What's a defense? So the defense is the side of the game or the positions that are trying to stop the quarterback and them from making a score. Okay, now this one is weird. I've heard people say somebody was a safety. What's a safety, cousin? Now, that's a very good question because I don't hear many people talk about a safety. These are the players are the last line of the defense. If someone gets past everybody else, the safety has to stop the play. And we cannot forget the cornerbacks. The cornerbacks will cover the receivers and try to stop the passes. Now, I remember there was one really famous cornerback who was a thorn in my side, and this man's name is Asante Samuels. He would catch anything Eli Manning threw his way, and he played for the Eagles, so we had to play them twice a year. I was so happy when they traded him, but he went to the Atlanta Falcons, and when he went to the Atlanta Falcons, he still intercepted the ball that Eli threw to him. I was like, just throw the whole man away. Or why don't he just be a receiver for the Giants? Because clearly he can catch Eli Manning's balls. Okay, cousin, I am so glad that I talked to you because I am glad I now know what a quarterback is, a running back, a wide receiver, and the offensive line. Right? Okay? And so I also learned a cornerback, a linebacker, And I learned what defense is. And it's just so many things that you taught me from watching your Football for Her podcast. And I am so glad that you could have me on today on your show so you can answer more questions for me. I appreciate you, cousin. You have a good day, okay? And you make sure you tell everybody on your podcast that I said hi. Well, yes, ma'am, Cousin Sharita. I will tell everybody on my podcast that you said hi. And I'm so glad that you were able to learn something from me. Cousin, you have a great night and be blessed. Good night, cousin. I love you. I love you more. Good night. Cousin, you are always welcome to come back to Football for Her if you have any other questions. I know this is the off season right now, so we're just filling your head with a lot of information right now. And if you have more questions, please don't hesitate to come back. And that goes for you. If you have questions and you want to be a guest on Football for Her, let me know. You can get to me on any of my socials, and I do answer direct messages, and you can ask your questions. I'll be happy to assist you. Okay, so now that you've learned about the players, the positions, what they do, and how they play, you're beginning to understand. And now watching football becomes completely different. So instead of just watching the ball, you start to notice who's blocking, who's covering who missed their one assignment. And suddenly, you're not just watching the game, you're reading the game. And trust me, that's when football really becomes fun. Once you understand the game, you can enter into those conversations while you're sitting around watching football. I don't want to see my girlies at the sports bar anymore, just sitting there being cute. We are becoming analysts on the big screen, on the TV screens, on Sundays, on Thursdays, on Mondays, on Saturdays. We have been welcome to the conversation, ladies. Let's take advantage of it because this is going to be fun.
Guess what I just heard?
All right, it's time for your favorite segment, Guess What I Just Heard. This is the part of the show where we talk about something interesting happening around the league. Okay, so this is what I just heard. Let's talk about A.J. Brown. So the wide receivers trade market is shrinking with only about 2 teams left in contention. The Rams are reportedly out while the Patriots remain in discussion. Okay, so the Cowboys defensive tackle Otito Ogbonnia has signed with a 1-year deal, and that's addressing their defensive line issue. All right. So now the Browns is introducing a draft pick rule change, and the NFL is seriously considering it. And what the Browns is asking for is that you could trade up to 5 years in the future. So what's the current rule? It's 3 years into the future. All right. So then in other team news, the Dolphins traded wide receiver Jalen Waddle, leaving a larger role for Tutu Atwell. The Giants add wideout Darnell Mooney on a 1-year deal. And then you have linebacker Logan Wilson announce his retirement from the NFL on yesterday, and he's only 29. But he did have a successful 6-season career, and he decided to step away after he was released from the Cowboys last month. Bears quarterback Caleb Williams is seeking trademark protection for his nickname Iceman. And then lastly, Russell Wilson's future is uncertain since the Chiefs signed Justin Fields. He is an amazing person, and I just don't want to have him taken away from the Giants. But I don't think that he's taken his last professional snap. But he could stay on with Big Blue and be Dart's quarterback coach, maybe? I don't know, but I know Jackson Dart loves him and respects him, and I just want to see great things for Russell Wilson. Okay, so that's what I heard. It's trivia time. Before we go, here's this week's trivia question. All right. How many players are on the field for each team during a play in football? Ding. Okay, the answer is 11. So you may have heard someone say, that's the 12th man. They're kind of saying like there's an angel out there. So 11 men on the play. If you ever hear them say the 12th man, you know they're talking about something supernatural. If this episode helped you understand football a little better, make sure you follow Football for Her and share it with someone who's still trying to figure out what a linebacker does. And remember, football isn't complicated once someone explains it the right way. Thank you for joining Football for Her, where football finally makes sense. All right, everyone, it's time for the Football for Her $500 NFL Draft Challenge. Let's get into it. One winner will receive $500 if they correctly predict all 32 players selected in the first round of the NFL Draft. But here's the catch. This contest will only activate if the Football for Her community reaches 10,000 combined followers on Facebook and YouTube. Once we hit that goal, you'll be able to submit your full first round predictions. From everyone who correctly predicts all 32 players drafted in the first round, one winner will be randomly selected to receive $500. If no one correctly predicts all 32 picks, there will not be a winner. So make sure you follow the page on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and start studying that draft board. And remember, this is Football for Her, where football finally makes sense.